Yeah. Hello, welcome back. Bonjour. Hello to everyone who watches these videos. Um, this is the kind of fourth installment in my kind of Forever World series, where I kind of talk through what I'm up to, what I'm doing, in this 4-year-old world that I put way too much time into. But it is what it is. Um, what's the point of this world? I mean, most people stop playing the game after they've killed Moonlord. But really, when I killed Moonlord, probably 3 years ago now, that was really the beginning of the world, um, and worlds. Um, yeah, I don't limit myself to one world. Um, but yeah, what's the point of this world? I guess generally it's to collect 100 of every stackable renewable item in the game. Um, and that is, a huge challenge. But I think it's quite an interesting challenge, because you have to, you know, look at lots of different mechanics that have been overlooked in other playthroughs. Um, Massive farms, such as, this huge grasshopper farm, or what will be this massive crystal shard farm, that are useless in other worlds because of their sheer size, actually, have a use in this world. Um, and I think it's a lot of fun. But yeah, the rules of the world are pretty simple. Um, what counts as an item we're going to get? Um, Anything that can be renewably obtained in the world. So gold critters, that's on the table, 100 of each, and 100 of each gold critter terrarium, that sort of thing. We're not doing banners. Banners are too far. I want to be finished at some point in my life, and getting 100 like Dr. Bones banners would just be a boring slog that is not very interesting to me. Um, but yeah, and ever since 1.4.5, um, everything bar coal um, is stackable, which is interesting. They left out coal, but that leaves me, you know, with a much more difficult challenge. But for that challenge, I've added another restriction. Anything that can be reforged, um, so that's 99% of the weapons, excluding like the coin gun, maybe. We won't need to get those. Um, or accessories, um, other than like vanity accessories. And yeah, I'll be showing you what I've been up to in this world for the past about a year, I think, since I last updated. But yeah, I kind of also want to talk about why do you know Forever Worlds not work for most people, and I think it's interesting because I think a lot of people, they get to Moonlord and they're like, what do I do? I've got nothing to do, and that's exactly the problem. You're so focused on beating bosses and beating the game, um, that once you've beaten the game, you have no idea what to do. And I think what um, for a successful forever world like this, you need to create your own goals. And I've created my own goal, 100 of every item. It makes things interesting for me. But again, Terraria is not a game that kind of fits this dynamic well. But my advice for you would be, instead of playing the game like you play Terraria, play the game like you play Minecraft if you want a long forever world. Minecraft, you beat the Ender Dragon, and that's how people begin basically in their long worlds. Then they're building all sorts of things. Um, that really don't have much use. You gotta stop asking, why am I doing this? And you gotta create your own goals. Um, because yeah, I've seen a lot of people start and then just get bored after Moonlord. Um, or just play the game however you want. Doesn't matter. You'll also notice that my world map is fully filled in. Um, we, actually, a few months ago, this whole world got corrupted. So did my player file. Um, this is a new player character. Um, just make sure to take regular backups because the last backup that I took was a week beforehand. Um, so I got a mod and filled in all the exploration of the whole world for most of the worlds that this character plays on. So if you're wondering about that, so this is basically the base, and it's very cool. I think, kind of. It looks like a clown is thrown up a little bit, and I like that. Kind of hurts your eyes sometimes when you look at it too long. Um, but yeah, I'm not a great builder. I'm very much focused on kind of the practical side of Terraria. I've made attempts at making things look pretty. Um, for example, the worm farm. Yeah, those are meant to be worms. So I don't know. I want to get better, but that's not why we're here. Anyway, some of the features of this base. Well, we've obviously got our nice little storage system. There's lots of all the useful stuff that we might need, a little wiring box, loads of ores and that sort of thing. But kind of up here is where I guess the magic happens. Um, this is a world load detector, a much better design than previous ones, made by someone on the wiring Discord. It's fantastic. Uses no timers to keep the liquid in stasis. It's all held in these blocks, and on world load, they fall out of the blocks, and is detected by this, which I think is pretty cool. Much more reliable, less open to exploding. We've also got our mob switch, which is activated on the world load, so it's a bunch of other things. And this is activated by this kind of spiky ball trap. Once a spiky ball reaches terminal velocity, it actually falls at nearly basically one block per tick, which you can get an output with teal pressure plates, and you add all of these timers up, and you have a tick engine. This is useful because you don't have to rely on dummy ghosts anymore, which have a limited spawn radius, and they despawn all the time. So even if you've set your spawn point somewhere else around the world, it will still activate, and that can be useful for certain things. When sometimes I set my spawn over at the angler's house, and I don't want to go back here to turn it on. But yeah, on world load we also start a few other things. You can see from here on world load, it says it, and we turn on a mushroom farm, which is over here, glowing mushrooms, because we need a lot of glowing mushrooms for the challenge, for Shroomite armor, and also our Fallen Star farm. So this 1 second timer turns on, and it activates little hoik things here, which collect fallen stars from this conveyor belt bridge. I do this because having a hoik just up here is more difficult to move things around. You don't want to constantly be rehoiking if you want to build something in a certain place, um, which is good. It gives you that flexibility, and also there's less hoiking needed to be done every tick. I don't have a great computer, and hoiking a whole big line every second would just cause undue lag that I don't have time for. Um, yeah, we have crafting set up here. Just the useful stuff. I don't see the point in all those people who have those massive, you can craft everything things, because it's not really that practical. I mean, the amount of times you're going to use, for example, a steampunk boiler or a sky mill, not very often. You just place them down when you need them. Usually they craft one type of furniture set with one type of block. You don't really need that. You just need, these are the main ones I use. Even I don't know why this thing is here. We also have a Ectomist crafting area with all of the possible crafting stations you might need, and also a demon altar, because I don't really want to place a demon altar in my main base because things usually move around. We also have this, which I think is really stupid. It's a rain detector, so it will detect when it's raining, because I can't just look over to my phone and see that. It's usually just for like seeing when I can do water leaves. It's not super great, especially when you're constantly going and leaving the area, because the goldfish will despawn and it will detect that the rain has stopped rather than that it is raining. We also have this setup, which is, I thought the automatic extractinator thing was a bit rubbish when I first saw it, but it has grown on me quite a lot. Because you can just shove in your silt or desert fossil here whenever you like, and you get a good amount of stuff. Mainly doing it for amber mosquitoes, because of course we are now collecting 100 of every pet, which is a lot of pets to collect, a lot of amber mosquitoes, and they're incredibly rare. But we're going to have a better setup to get amber mosquitoes at some point with an AFK desert fossil farm, with some of the new skyblock slimes and that sort of thing. We also have a few other things that are connected to the base, which are rarely ever used. We have a violent vicious mushroom farm, which come along the Hoik track, and we also have a standard mushroom farm, which comes along the Hoik track as well, which is over here. This was, well, it's gone through 3 phases of this area. It was originally a cactus farm, which is now turned into this chest, which is filled with cactus, and I don't know why I got rid of it. I need to probably build another cactus farm somewhere else. And then it turned into a strange plant farm, and then I contaminated the area a few times to get the grass for clovers, mushrooms, and we have more mushrooms than we could ever possibly need. Similarly with violent vicious mushrooms and glowing mushrooms, to be honest. But yeah, that's about it for the base. We have these couple of levers here. This one just turns off the mob switch, so if you want to go around, do things, spawn in enemies, that's what you press. And then this also deactivates the mob switch on world load, so this will just make it so when you load into a world, no mob switch will turn on, which is useful for a few farms, especially like Frost Moon farms, which I'll get to later in the video. But yeah, other than the base, I think we should start from the right and continue onwards. Yeah, so this is our, angler zone. We fish here. We have our all biome fishing spot, which is, I think is pretty cool. Just pretty standard. We got ocean, hallow, well, everything that you'd need. And these lower down ones are for underground, and these higher up ones are for above ground. We also have this kind of teleporter setup, which is useful for AFK fishing. So you will sit here um, in a fishing setup. You'll do your AFK fishing for however long it takes, and for about 5 minutes, and then you'll be teleported to the next one, and the next one, next one. With also a lot of corrupt bunnies spawned in, so you can safely AFK fish for however long you want without having to worry about blood moon fishing enemies. Yeah. Also for the fishing stuff, we finally built a sky one, which is not very interesting. It's just a box in the sky. It took me about 5 minutes. And God, isn't this place ugly? I think so. I think it needs a redesign. This was a house that I built on the first day of the server, probably. So something needs to change. But yeah, before the 1.4.5 update with stackable things, these chests were all filled with these items. They obviously didn't stack. We put all of our fishing rods somewhere else, actually, but yeah, we're getting there on some of these. Because we're not stacking accessories. These are fine being this low. But yeah, we're making good progress. The honey stuff is kind of annoying, but we'll be getting there. And also the furniture. We're in the 30s, 40s, 50s on all of these furniture items. And the vanity sets are now stackable, so still a long way off on fishing. We also have an underground fishing spot with lava fishing, honey fishing. Honey fishing is the only one that's nearly kind of done, except for the quest fish stack. Because obviously now we need to stack quest fish because those are stackable. So every day we'll go in and collect, I don't know, 10 of each quest fish. But fishing is boring. I think I've decided that, well, I'm in mixed minds. Do I get all of the items that are renewable exclusively only from crate drops? Because that's all the paintings, and that would mean I'd have to catch something like 5,000 dungeon crates, which I'm like, but yeah, doesn't matter. Blood moon fishing, we worked a lot at. We were trying to get these blood moon monoliths, which have a 10% chance of dropping from Dread Nautilus. We have crazy luck setups with this platinum coin dropper into Shimmer, and we also use our greater luck potions, which we got from duplication in the previous update, which I'm like, it was in the game, and now I have a limited supply of them, and it gives use to a potion that was once useless. I think it's fair enough. So I like using those. It speeds up farming for a lot of things, especially the rare kinds of things. But yeah, this is the fishing spot. Also around this area we have a couple of failed farms. I thought I could design a farm on the fly for the Martian invasion event, so it would recursively spawn Martian invasions in, but that turned out to be something I would failed at. I thought it'd be easy, so now I have these two useless boxes instead of my coral farm, which I finally got rid of. If you saw the last episode, I mean, we kind of have all the coral we need. Um, and I also built a better coral farm on a different world, which I'll show you later on in the video. Um, but yeah, other interesting things in this area. Um, we have our statue farms, which I've showcased in the last video, but we've made some more. Um, and look now, slime starbs are stackable. We have so many because we're getting 600 statue enemies per second, which is a huge amount. It's like 3 slime starbs a minute. We have our Eater of Souls one. It's great for rotten chunks. We also need to AFK this a bit longer for the monster meats, which are again now stackable. But the new ones, we have Demon Eyes, which drop lenses, which are pretty cool, and we have a hopper set up that can collect all of these. I don't know why I built this one. We didn't need a huge amount of lenses, but I thought it would be nice because now we have them. We also have a granite golem one, which I think is one of the more useful ones. I haven't actually hooked it up to hoppers, but you get a huge amount of geodes and that sort of thing. And we can also set it up so we can stand down here, and all of the items drop to the player, and you can be throwing geodes like this with an auto clicker, which is the best farm in the game. And you can see that whilst the farm is running, we can't throw them as quickly as we gain them. There we go. We're gaining them faster. Much better than any source of geodes in the game. Let's turn this off. It is laggy. But yeah, burns all of the granite as well in this lava block for us. And we have so many night vision helmets, so at least that stack is done. We also have a few underground ones, which I haven't set up teleporters to because I am lazy. This one can't use the glitched, what's it called? Glitched lizard landmine things because pigrons are just too strong. I made this one after the update, exclusively for two specific items. I just knew I had to because these were quite rare, but this allowed us to get 100 of each of these paintings super quickly. All of these things are underground in various locations. This is the pigron one. You can see it's moving. This is the granite golem, the Eye of Demon Eyes, the Eater of Souls, the slime statue, and then we also have here's a zombie arm farm and a slightly different corrupt bunny farm, which I'll show you now. So over here is a pretty ugly looking farm. You needed 1,500 bunny statues for it. It's very similar design to the other statue farms I make, except this one needs a 1 tick delay before you can teleport the bunnies, because in a blood moon they need 1 tick to change into their initial state. So without a blood moon you get absolutely nothing, but with a blood moon you get a huge amount of bunnies, and it doesn't really matter how fast you kill them. You don't need to kill them instantly, because the blood moon has no limit on the number of enemies you can spawn in, which I think is pretty cool. I might want to make another one of these with penguins, because there is a penguin set that's quite difficult to get, but we don't have the penguins at the minute. And well, these are a lot easier, these statues, to collect than the other statue farms. Whilst we have a blood moon, I'll show you kind of how I like to kill Moonlord these days. Of course, we've now set up a whole arena system that helps us get through the events very quickly. And we've got one for each of the pylons, like this. We haven't got an AFK setup yet. I might want to make one in a new world, but I haven't designed one. But yeah, this is essentially how we fight Moonlord these days. We take a luck potion, we throw a coin into the shimmer, because we need a lot of these lunatic cultist type things, trophies. We spawn in a metric ton of vicious bunnies and goldfish until they stop spawning, around 157. We kill all these, and yeah, well, it's pretty simple. It's pretty scuffed setup, but we can, yeah, have a good shot of getting one of these trophies. As you can see, impending doom approaches. So we skip the entire solar events because of the amount of NPCs. Doesn't allow the pillars to spawn. Then we go along to here, and because dummy engines no longer work when you're far away, we need this big scuffed setup in order to start our projectile cheese, which makes Moonlord a lot more survivable. And finally, we come over here to our Moonlord killer. We grab ourselves a Shadow Jousting Lance, and we hop into here. And we reach a certain speed, we start teleporting in between chambers. These chambers are set up to attack individual sections of the Moonlord. It spawns in, and I'm sorry if this is quite hard on the eyes. I don't like it either, but it means we can pretty reliably and quickly kill Moonlord. Just gotta kill him. Sometimes you can shoot out of the top because a laser will hit one of these at the wrong moment. And we might need to come up with a different setup to make that slightly more reliable. But, you know, we have this projectile cheese, which helps out a lot. Yeah, we didn't get any trophies this time, but I think it's a pretty cool, fast, efficient way. I mean, we went through a whole Moonlord killing cycle in about, well, not very long. And then we can turn back on the mob switch. But yeah, I mean, whilst we're going down there, this is the kind of main storage area. I haven't actually connected these to anything yet. This is supposed to be a teleporter hub, but that is, you know, one of the goals. Have a cool, what's it called? Proper teleporter hubs. These are our goals. We have a few of these, like making a proper truffle worm farm, because we have, well, a really rubbish one. So we're down here, which is actually the first AFK farm I made. Because I was in pre-Hardmode, I wanted to clear out one area, so we have a mob farm and then a truffle worm farm as well, all in one. And I'm not sure how good it is. I need to like research like an optimized version. Yeah, I get sidetracked. Let's look at the storage area. I mean, since last time we set up a lot of different spaces. We even have a banner place, which is not very good at the minute. That is another goal of mine, is to collect all the banners. We're obviously not collecting 100 of each of them because we want to finish this project before we're a million years old. Um, but yeah, this is kind of the boss area. Let's put away our Moonlord drops. We're getting pretty far on some of them. 28 cultist trophies, 25 Moonlord trophies, 21 cultist masks. It's getting there. We still need a lot of these because they're newly stackable. I have a lot of the pets, mainly in other chests. But since pets have become stackable, things that were once completed are no longer completed. So we've got to go back through, the twins, mechanical, um, you know, Skeleton Prime. The only ones we've really finished at the minute are Eye of Cthulhu, because I just completed it really quickly. It's pretty easy. Um, Eater of Souls is Eater of Worlds is done. And yeah, some of these are going to be easy to fix. Some of them not so much. Like we've got to get 100 goat skulls. So because we have 98 Wall of Flesh trophies, which is 2 away. But we need to get the goat skulls and the badger hats. Um, Similarly with Skeletron, we've got to get the possessed skulls. We've got to get all of these armor sets, which take forever, and the red hats, I guess, if we're counting that. The Skeletron hands, which will take a lot of treasure bags to open. The one we've kind of finished, the only one now, is Plantera. If you saw my last video, we actually made a really decent Plantera farm, which I'll show off in this one. We have all of the seedlings in a different chest, but I love the stackable items. It really makes me want to collect. Well, I only got 30 of these without a reforge. If there were, no reforges or a way to get rid of reforges, I might consider getting them, but it's a lot of work. Other things that are going to be quite difficult are these elf sets, and the Frost Moon, all of the Frost Moon enemies. I want to make a proper dedicated Frost Moon and Pumpkin Moon farm, which can efficiently kill them. I'm thinking about something with the last prism, but I haven't come up with any plans for that at the minute. We have a very good setup for getting the elf shirts, the elf set, and the scarecrow sets, which I'll show you in a bit. Again, it's a bummer because we had finished the pirate invasion, and the Martian invasion with 100 saucer trophies. But now we got to get the anti-gravity hooks. We got to get the cosmic car keys. We got to get the Flying Dutchman summon mounts. Coin guns, which is the only weapon we have to stack because it actually can't get any reforges. Them's the rules, and we've got to go back over the old one's army, which I hate, to get the master mode pets. But yeah, other than that, I've actually done a bit of designing. I've made this place somewhat look nice for all the furniture sets. These are a slog to do, but we've mainly completed all of the new ones, which is this second row. There's a few of them we just haven't crafted, but we got the blocks, which are very easy to get. This, you just shimmer some snow, which is an easy way to do it. And then the rest of these we just had kind of lying around almost. Other than the forbidden one, which was actually quite difficult to get. means we need to farm more sandstorm stuff. There's only a few now that we haven't completed, which is the bamboo. We need to make a bamboo farm. It shouldn't be too difficult. The crystal, because our crystal farm still isn't completed. We completed all the solar sets, which was a slog. And then we got to raid some dungeons in other worlds to get just at least one of each. Because I think that'd be nice to kind of complete sets. But yeah, we've also got this downstairs area, which has, well, a lot of random stuff, like the crafting stations. A lot of these things we can do pretty quickly, but it just takes time to get them going. The interesting ones are the monoliths. Done all the pillar monoliths. Some of those were difficult. The Aether monolith was quite difficult. Lots of time spent AFKing. Bar statues are also done. A lot of these are very simple. Slice of cake is getting there. It's just stored somewhere else. And these critter statues, some of them are done. Other interesting things. A lot of the paintings are just ones that you buy. But there are some interesting ones. Dread of the Red Sea is getting there. We have more of the Lady of the Lake in the fishing setup. All of the Halloween ones are completed. All of the solar eclipse ones are completed. Although we have to go back on the solar eclipse because of all the pets. So 1.4.5 was a bit of a setback in terms of some of these things. Some things you thought you were done with are not done. We've got the Terra toilets and the thrones. Thrones were actually really expensive. And all the tombstones we got from a cool Tombstone Farm that I'll get onto as well. We also have places for all of our melee weapons. We have all of the new ones, I believe. I just need to put them up. We got most of them already up there. We have all of the new mage weapons, which was one new mage weapon, which is nice because I don't have to do so much. Just need to put them up. The ranger weapons, I think we have all of the new ones. I think I put a few of them up. And we've also been working on 100 of every ammo thing, which, the only real tough ones are the paper airplanes, which there are two kinds of paper airplanes, and they're an incredibly rare drop from a balloon slime, which is fun. We also need to get 100 of these now, 100 of these now, endless pouches. But most of these are just pretty easy, just buy them, or make them out of very easy materials. And then we have the summon stuff, which we haven't actually completed because we haven't come across Cativa or Foxbox. It's just something that I haven't been motivated to do. But yeah, all the weapons we don't have to stack again. We just need one of them, which I think would be fun. I say we're not going to be stacking melee weapons, but there's one, or weapons in general. There is one weapon I thought would be a fun challenge to stack, get 100 of, which was the Zenith. So I want 100 legendary Zeniths or whatever. I think that just doing one of them is kind of fun. Lots of different farming things. I mean, we got all the True Excaliburs. You see the mushroom farm being harvested, which is very cool. The real limiting factors here are enchanted swords, mirror masses. The rest of them, and we've got all of these. We've got all of these. We've got all of these. I mean, we have enough to make all the true Knight's Edges. We need to get a few more of these. I was thinking about doing this before the update, so I have been collecting these for a little while. Horseman's Blades. I mean, it's just a lot of different things, and I think we're nearly done on the Seedlers. They're just stored somewhere else, and these will be a pain in the ass. But I think that's could be like quite a fun challenge to do. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah. Anyway, continuing on main storage stuff. We have the kind of accessories stuff, which I don't think I've really looked at in a while. Not since 1.4.5. There's been a few new additions, which I don't think I have all of them. But we have a few things. We also are wondering whether we should stack the music boxes. We bought all the music boxes that we need to stack them, but wow, it's boring stacking these. You just basically sit here and record each one over itself. There's nothing really that interesting about it. I've been thinking about making an AFK setup with a medium core character, which would be slower, but it means I could let it just go. But again, I might not stack these. The vanity accessories as well, because they don't have uh, what are they called? Reforges. We might also have to stack these, but again, you know, these gentlemen's beards are just boring. There's nothing really interesting about just constantly taking these on and off for this whole stacks. But yeah, the real interesting bit, I think, is the pets, the light pets and mounts and the mine carts. These are some things which I think are like manageable and kind of fun to do. It increases the scope of the challenge and, you know, incentivizes you to make interesting farms for other things. For some of the items, like the amber mosquito, I've designed a desert fossil farm, which I think should be quite cool. But some of these are going to be tough. We haven't even got a friendly rainbow boulder yet. And some of them are going to be not so tough. A lot of these you can just buy from the traveling merchant or NPCs at specific times. A lot of these not. Lizard eggs, fish. Again, because this is only renewable using crates, I might not do this. Similarly with a slice of hell cake. But some of these are just a slog, however you do them. Got to make an optimized trash fishing setup to get all of the star drops. And we've got to go back over all of these pets to get 100 of each of them, which we haven't got for most of them, which is fun. Light pets, similarly, some of these are easy, some of them not. Mounts, some of these are genuinely awful. We haven't even got 2 chillets yet, but those aren't renewable. Technically, this is renewable, but not really. With the integer overflow of the quest limit, I'm not going to be doing that because it requires new characters. Some of these I think will be fun though. Not this one. Fishing. So much fishing in this challenge. Minecarts. We got both the fart cart and the terra fart cart, which I think were some of the toughest ones. We've got Meow Mia cart, and a lot of these aren't renewable, but Meow Mia, the Dutchman, the Minecart are the real tough ones left. A lot of these you just need to craft them, and then you'll be chilling. Then you just be chilling. But I'm liking the new dimension to this challenge. I think it'll be fun. We're nearly done with the main storage. We got the food items, which I really worked hard at. We had to develop a lot of different farms for all of these. We've done all the fruits. We've done you know, most of them, to be honest. A lot of these were very easy because they're just stuff you have from critter farms that you make. Others were not so easy, like nachos. You have to be waiting for sandstorms to get any of these. Um, but yeah, we only have a few pieces of food left, like spaghetti, pizza, um, and yeah, I think we've broken the back of it. The real rough ones like cream soda are done, hot dogs. Um, yeah, it's beautiful. Then we got all the potions, which I haven't crafted. You just need to go in and craft them, wires and stuff. Just do it, I suppose. Um, the permanent buff items, we've done a lot of the tough ones. The Galaxy Pearl, the Gummy Worm, Peddler's Satchel. Um, this we can just buy. We're still working away at advanced combat techniques, but they made it less rare, so that's good. Um, and we got our quest fish, which honestly I'm regretting allowing myself to stack these. They're really boring. I'm gonna might take a break from doing these because you collect like 20 fish per day and then you have no time to do anything else. But you know, we'll get there eventually. We got there with a few of them already, actually. Yeah, there's 41 different kinds of quest fish, and especially on Drunk World, these infection ones, corruption ones, crimson ones are much rarer, so we need to be getting those when we can. Crates, yeah, you know, just slogging away. I mean, we've been to the fishing setup, um, and this isn't all the items, but we have a few over there as well. Um, it's just a slog. Some of these are just gonna take a while, especially because we need 200 of each of these jellyfish, which is good. Then we've got all of the dye plants, and you know, dyes for the most part are completed. Um, I worked very hard at getting all of the dyes done. Strange dyes, all sorted. Normal dyes, bright dyes, dye plus silver, black dyes, gradient dyes, intense rainbow dye, and some of the more complicated ones, the crafted ones. Some of these you just buy. But Void dye was tough. All of the pillar dyes, Loki's dye, only available in treasure bags. And the last one we need to do is Prismatic dye, which is from the Empress of Light. Ooh, loads of dyes. It's dying me or killing me, whatever. That's my attempt at a joke, huh? Um, but yeah, we'll look at how we kind of got those all later. But we're actually going to need you know, a lot more black dye for certain um, vanity sets, which we also now need to stack. Um, so we're gonna have to go probably make a new ocean farm because I don't like the old one. Stacking fishing rods as well. We make good progress though. I don't think any of these will be too difficult. We're doing the fishing quests anyway, and these are making good progress. Yeah, some of them I don't think we're going to do because of excessive fishing that I don't care for, but yeah, and the pearls. Beautiful. I know I'm going to regret this section. Um, this is the armor section. I mean, previously we had this kind of all armor setups because we weren't stacking them. And we had collected all of them, and that was kind of a job done. But now we're working away at collecting all of them. I've just been working really on the pre-Hardmode ones, collecting all we kind of have at the minute. But we've made good progress, especially with a few of these which are tough. The Miner's Helmet, Miner's Set, which we have completed both for hard mode and pre-hard mode. Um, Some of these you don't have to do. Angler, obviously, not renewable, so it's fine. Some of these are getting there. But we still have to do all of the hard mode sets, some of which we've done, some of which we haven't done. I just know I'm going to regret this big time, especially because we need a metric ton of these hard mode ores. We have a good hard mode ore farm now. Chlorophyte, there's no real great way of mass producing this stuff. We need chlorophyte for this, and this, which is a lot. Other things which are causing concern, green caps. I don't even want to talk about it. And then these endgame sets, which should be fine if we just keep on killing Moonlord. Some of them are easier than others, I'll admit that. We don't have any of the frost cores we need, or enough of them. Neither the forbidden fragments. We might even need to go back to the Old One's Army for all of these Old One's Army sets. But yeah, I'm having fun. I don't know. This is just how I play the game. Tools, yeah. Don't really need to stack those, other than now we need to stack the hooks. And I guess these, pretty easy though. Well, the Spectre ones. It's more chlorophyte, more chlorophyte. Our poor little chlorophyte farm is going to be working overtime. And then we have our old kind of vanity sets, which my computer does not like. We've only stacked one of them so far, which cost 100 platinum, but this really lags my computer. And a lot of these are going to be tricky to get 100 of. The developer sets, the boss masks. Some of these just require really random crafting materials. Others need hundreds upon hundreds of goodie bags, archaeologist hats. It's going to be a lot. And I hate this area, so I want to get out of it as fast as I can. Badges, hats. Nightmare. Yeah, anyway, done with the kind of main storage stuff. Still lots to do. Still several years off completing this godforsaken challenge. But I guess we can kind of have a look at some of the herb farms. We don't have a lot of herb farms in this world, but because we spend a lot of time here, I thought I'd get started on the glowing mushroom. We need something around 90,000 glowing mushrooms, so I have this on the whole time. I think that's an underestimate. We have them now, actually. I've just kept this on all the time. Basically every 2 minutes 40 seconds, I think. That's about the maths there. This is harvested. It's unload proof. So when it's loaded, all of the farm is reset back to its initial state. So you can just leave this on and it will just collect things for however long you like, which it has been doing. I like these new hoppers. It means you don't have hundreds of items clogging your world all the time. This used to go down into main storage and come up, but now it's all collected pretty simply. I don't like the lack of filtering, because it's, I don't know. I just want item filters, and the item filtration that we have at the minute is kind of lacking. I'll show you. We're back at Statue Farms again. Obviously, we have the landmine setups, but this is what I do to filter items. Just a bunch of random, like, stuff you just shove into the chests. Yeah, we needed zombie arms. Obviously, the Spiffo plush. zombie arms for the fart carts, because you can shimmer these into whoopee cushions, and also the gas traps as well. You can shimmer the whoopee cushions into gas traps. Pretty overkill for what we needed. But it means you don't get duplicate items. There's one stack for each of them, which I think is fun. But yeah. One of the big disasters for in 1.4.5 was Chrono Farms. They have been nerfed into oblivion. I haven't used this one in forever because I used one on a different World Seed celebration. But essentially, the glitch that allowed underground desert spawn rates to happen has been patched. So all of these critter farms are now just as slow as a regular desert. Jungle biome doesn't really increase it. It spawns frogs. So what needs to happen now is I need to move all of the critter farms to a remix world, or a dungeon world, which I'll get onto later. A world where I haven't defeated Skeletron, or the dungeon guardian rates. But in terms of critters, we're doing pretty well actually. We've done a lot of these, most of these. Just got the seahorse, which is rough to get. The gold butterfly, the water strider, and the gold ladybug. These three are the worst ones, I think. Gold water strider is actually not so bad. Myth disproved. But I haven't really focused on it that much recently. What I'm really bummed about is I spent so much time perfecting this monstrosity of a farm, for it to become basically next to useless in the next update. Thank God I got most of the gold dragonflies and gold frogs beforehand, but I'll need to go into a different world and get the rest of these, which I don't like. Maybe a skyblock world, because they double spawn rates just globally, which I like. Yeah, this was a frog slash um, dragonfly farm. So in the day, you get dragonflies. You have a rain detector, which detects when it's raining. Because just look at my dragonfly video. I really love the design of this farm. I love meshing two farms together. It really throws up a lot of different challenges. But yeah, we nearly got there. I didn't know why I just stopped doing this before the update, but it is what it is. We also have various kind of mob farms. I'll only show really one, but we have kind of hundreds of them. This is where we did All One's Army. I'm hoping this still works. But did I turn off the mob switch? No, I did not. Okay. This is a pretty simple design. You just summon your Stardust Dragon, and it kills all of them. I think I have a newer design which uses hoppers and conveyors to send the items to a big box storage. But yeah, these have been kind of the bread and butter of getting all sorts of different types of items. We've done all the jungle keys, all of the biome keys. We don't need any more of those. There's a few more that need to be done. A lot of other mob farms are in different worlds. That's why we only have a handful. I mean, we have a dungeon one, desert, jungle. This is a gem critter farm actually, and lizard, and then a really old, decrepit one I talked about earlier. But yeah, if you just sit at these farms for any length of time, you'll get a huge amount of items. Oh, let's not let this guy die. We also need stuff from him. I don't think I need anything. Yeah, you can just shove it into the chests. Most of the stuff I get rid of. Some of the things we have in this farm are, these are luck things. I don't really use this farm very much anymore, but if you pile up platinum coins and you turn this on every around 4 minutes, you'll get uh, more luck basically. Um, and yeah, that was the all biome one. We got the dungeon one, which has two different zones. Each one is slightly different. Same basic design. Um, Obviously, I was trying to get the new book enemy. I don't know really how that spawns very well, but we need to come back here anyway. Um, and there's certain ways to only spawn in the cursed skulls, which we needed for the creamy soda food item. Um, and yeah, just a lot of different stuff. Um, I think we're gonna have to stack the Rod of Discord, which I really that's a big project. But some of the other things we have been making good progress on, like the archaeologist hat. And yeah, mob farms, we love them. Another farm that I really love, which is another kind of general mob farm, is this one by the ocean. This one was a pirate farm. We haven't got all of our stuff on for it. um, and what I really like about this one is, well, it was actually initially quite a temporary farm. Um, but I have a feature in here which allows me to basically only get um, pirate ships to spawn, which I think is super useful because once we hit 51%, we can turn this off. Um, Basically, what that does is it teleports away all enemies other than the enemies that can't teleport. And for pirate invasions, that is the Flying Dutchman, um, which you can just pretty quickly kill with a Zenith. I think this is more efficient than the other thing, which is just going through the events as fast as you can. This does slow down your progress, but you're only getting pirate ships, which are the most important things, because we need loads of coin guns. We need all sorts of things from these guys. The black spots, the whatever it might be, the mine carts. And you can also do this with another event, which is the Martian invasion, which I have done quite a bit, only allowing basically Martian drones and the sources to spawn. Yeah, it's fantastic. Anyway, if you want like a tutorial on that type of enemy farm with the teleporters, just give us a shout. I've been using them for years. I think they're quite fun. Um, but I'm not going to go through every single one of them because there are so many of them. The farm we kind of have. I'm not sure how well this item collection is working anymore. They changed a lot of the Hoik drops. But this is a Harpy farm. And this is not it running at full efficiency. For it to run at full efficiency, we got to summon in a pumpkin moon or a frost moon, I think. Because essentially, the only enemies that can spawn are harpies, because the rest of it, the item collection is too low, so no pumpkin moon enemies can spawn. That means we get the 1 out of 20 spawn rate of pumpkin moon without actually having any pumpkin moon enemies spawn. Only harpies and wyverns. And if you want to get rid of wyverns, you stand in front of a wall. That allows us to get the harpy feathers, loads of wyvern banners, souls of flight, and the chicken nuggets, which were super important. But that's a fun little tip for you. Pumpkin Moon can be used to spawn in harpies super rapidly. Over on this side of the world, we have, that's not the right place. Um, kind of, I should make this place look nicer. But our Chlorophyte Farm, which I've upgraded since then, since last time, to use chlorophyte bricks. If you haven't seen it, I simply go along here. I think I'm going a bit too fast, but ooh, I didn't turn on the mob switch, which is not good. I'm so used to having no enemies around me. I forget what it's like. There we go. But essentially, you travel along like this, collecting chlorophyte at a much slower speed, and then you teleported from layer to layer, which is super slow. I think the chlorophyte brick could have sped it up. I might need to redesign the whole thing though, because I think these layers might be a bit too close together. But we put on a mining set, and yeah, we have so much chlorophyte to get. It's honestly a bit ridiculous. It'll take several days of just sitting in this farm to get anywhere close to the amount of chlorophyte we need. We need all the chlorophyte armor sets, the shroomite sets, the spectre sets, turtle armor, beetle armor, probably other things that are the drill containment units, 40 chlorophyte for each one of those. Sorry, not even 40, 120 chlorophyte each. So yeah, we if there's any way we can yeah, speed this up, let me know in the comments. I did show this, and this was just to get the Torch God favor, which wasn't really a a thing that needed such a pretty setup almost, or an elaborate setup at all. But I don't know. I was bored at one point. It's been exams. Now comes the kind of heartbreaking section of the video. Um, this farm design broke in 1.4.5. Yeah, and now I don't really know what to do. I need to redesign the entire farm, whilst also keeping this kind of basic layout I want to. And hopefully make a design that is easier to build and AFKable. I've got ideas in mind, so it's not a complete waste of time. Hopefully some of these Hoyt tracks will be able to stay. But I think it'll be, yeah, a new adventure to try and get this done. Now paints are much faster to craft, mass crafting, and yeah, I want to make a redesign of this farm that can be built semi AFK or AFK with a clicking script to do all the hoiking for me. Because I still want to complete this project at some point, but it's, yeah, I want to cry. I want to cry. Now comes kind of cheatier section of the video. Because redigit, relogic, don't want to update any sort of traps or wiring stuff, I've had to take things into my own hands. Where am I going? All sorts of wrong places. So this is a ghost farm. I showed it off in the last video, but I had to do a bit of a redesign. yeah, essentially, it gets us ectoplasm, biome keys, loads of coins, um, and goodie bags and treasure presents even. Um, I think it's kind of cheaty, but I also think it's really fun and it helps me get the presents done, um, and all the biome keys. I could just use biome keys as chests, um, which I kind of like doing. Um, so many of these yo-yos. Um, but yeah, essentially how this works is, um, well, over here, even we have this dummy engine set up, um, which we saw this at the dart trap thing, because they can't be close by. This is um, tombstones which are constantly being broken on locked lizard doors, um, and they spawn close to the player, basically on any free block. Um, that's why we needed to get rid of a lot of things. They can spawn anywhere now, not a set distance from you, even on lava or bubble blocks, which I don't like. It's kind of similar with boss spawning as well. Um, but it helped get rid of some of the jank that was ghost spawning mechanics. Would cause so much lag if you got too close to where a ghost was spawning, and of course in Skyblock, um, that was kind of inevitable. So they had to do something about it, and I'm glad they did. But yeah, also super similar setup with Eater of Worlds. Um, I love these flowing timers, by the way. They're very cool, and the hoppers as well. Um, but yeah, basically we have to have this whole dummy set up really far away, so that it can only spawn on one block, which is here, with our glitched explosives, and then all of that is collected, like that. And you can do an auto clicker like so, and it gets you, well, I don't know. It used to be for biome keys, but now this sort of setup is mainly kind of used for starting meteor rains, and getting the rest of the Eater of World items, as well as developer sets. Although we have a different setup that's kind of basically the same as this in another world. Um, for farming destroyer, for the developer sets, because we need to stack all of those as well. And we have so much of this stuff. I love it. It's fantastic. I wish Relogic would add something like this to the game, something quite OP. I wouldn't. This is overpowered, but I'm using it because the traps we have at the minute are rubbish. We have. I mean, it seems Relogic wants to nerf all traps into oblivion and then buff every melee weapon. um, when I think traps are like a kind of interesting way to play the game, um, and having maybe like a trap armor set or new kinds of endgame traps, or you know anything for people who play the game like me. I don't know. There's probably way bigger priorities because there's like 4 people in the world who play the game like me. So whatever. If you can hear me, I'd love to get some more trap content. It'd be fantastic. The kind of last farm I want to talk about in this world. I mean, we still have other things, like the grasshopper farm. It was a big thing. The grubby farm, seahorse, all sorts of mob farms. The herb farm, I guess. Um, but this is the kind of last interesting thing that I want to talk about, which is our farm for elf sets. This is quite a big farm for, 3 items. But I think it's kind of an interesting design. Well, basically what you do is you get your buff stuff and you spawn in an event, and then you kill the first wave, and that is the first wave done. Um, and then basically what you do is you shove down a bunch of coins in this setup, and because the second wave is only zombie elf type enemies, um, you can get up to 150 of them. Whereas in the rest of the event, you barely get any of these types of enemies. And this kind of just maximizes the amount of elves you can kill in one night. Um, Once you have kind of what's it called? Run out of coins here. You're gonna go to where we were initially. You can see all of the coined enemies here. We put in 150 around, which I think is about the amount that we can spawn in. Then we go over here. We can see we got 150 of them. And we skip all the way to wave 8. We didn't get any that time, but we can leave the world real quick. Come back. Cool Land. That's the name of the world, by the way, if you didn't know. And basically start over again. This I also use this for what's it called? Pumpkin Moon Scarecrow sets. That's much less rare than elf sets, so you don't really need it as much, but it does also work. I just think this is a kind of fun design. You have your spawning area here, and then they're hoiked across, hitting this coin. Yeah, I like the coin saving mechanic. I think it's very fun. Yeah, again, you can get around like 5 of these 150 sets every night, which translates to not that many elf sets. We've done this quite a number of times. But yeah. Ooh, get out of there. Anyway, we're on to kind of the next world. As I mentioned, we have several of these worlds with different kind of secret seeds active for different mechanics that we can exploit to make this challenge somewhat bearable. Next, we're going to go on to our remix world. This is the Collectors Don't Dig Up world. The base for this world is much less sophisticated. We have a what's it called, mob switch here, which we don't use anymore. We use it over here because enemies are kind of immune to lava almost. Lava damage, not fire damage. So this doesn't actually work. You can see enemies are spawning around me somewhere there. So we need to be far enough away for them to instantly despawn to allow no enemies to spawn. Standard, boring, rubbish world load detector as well. But yeah, this is the kind of world we have made a huge amount of progress on. But we'll get onto these big things in a bit. One of the smaller, less interesting kind of builds is this one. It's Empress of Light Killing Machine. As you can see, it's pretty low effort. I think it might need a bit of a rejig because I did try and attempt to use it once or twice and I lost a bunch of prismatic Lacewings. It worked for a little bit, but then I somehow got knocked into something or something. I don't know. Something went wrong. But essentially how it would work was you'd have your summons out, and this would be a long kind of few-minute timer, which I worked out was about roughly the time it would take to kill a prismatic, an Empress of Light. And you'd be constantly putting your prismatic lacewings into this block, which once the timer was up, it would turn into a falling sand through this double actuation method. Killing a prismatic lacewing, spawning one in, basically AFK. And you'd sit here, tank the attacks. Because it's in a remix world, you don't have to worry about being enraged. It only enrages on the surface. It does not have a time component to it. And you'd also have a projectile cheese, which still works, but the projectile cheese that was really simple and quick to set up that used cannons is broken now. Which, yeah, we just need a dart trap one, which takes a long time to set up. Have darts all across the world. It's on the to-do list. It's on the to-do list. Remind me to clean up this area. This is awful. I have no idea where these switches take me. They go all over the place. But I guess the next one that we want to kind of talk about is the Tombstone Farm. I've taken a lot of the tombstones away for other projects and that sort of thing, and for stacking the tombstones. But essentially how this works was you need a world load detector, because otherwise it's very difficult to get out of this farm, at all. What you do is you need to put most of your coins away, except for one platinum coin. Turn on this. It's a very manual sort of thing. But you spawn in here and then you're teleported above the map, killing you instantly. The tombstone falls down and breaks here, travels up to you. I built this before hoppers. I think you can just use a hopper maybe now. And this block would actuate, allowing you to sometimes have a platinum coin, sometimes not. So let's have a look at it. You can see the tombstone flying away. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I have a whole video on tombstone farms, so check that out. It is pretty niche, I'm not gonna lie. And you saw a regular tombstone there. And the only way you can really get out of this is to save and exit. And go into the world again. The thing would activate, making this thing work again. And then you can put your tombstones away, which I didn't collect any for some reason. Whatever. Must have broken at some point, or I wasn't in it for long enough to collect them. But I think it's a pretty cool design. Now on to kind of the big boys. These all three are dye farms, basically. This first one is a lime kelp farm. These take kind of a long time to build, as you can probably tell. Not a huge amount of time, because they're very simple farms. The complexity is not that high. It's basically conveyor belts all along, for hundreds and hundreds of blocks filled with water. But this one's for lime kelp, which, we have more than we could ever possibly need. And basically it just double actuates this floor every 5 seconds, gets rid of the lime kelps. You can't really do anything else whilst this farm is running because it's really laggy. You can see how many liquid updates it's doing. But the reason why I like this design is because no water is moving, and the collection is where the things grow. It's super simple, super effective. If you need lime kelp, this is the sort of thing you should do. Um, yeah, there's a big hoik track here with these holes that allow lime kelps to be sent to our chest, which I've fitted in here. Um, yeah, we can let that run. Honestly, very similar designs. With this one, it's a bit more complicated because you need to have time for the things to fall and drop down. Um, this one was mainly for orange bloodroots, but also got us our green and teal mushrooms. Um, and now blink roots, which were more difficult to farm at one point because in 1.4.5 they kind of standardized hoik sizes, which is kind of cool, but also uh, kind of annoying because it broke my crystal shard farm that I've been working on my entire fucking life. Um, sorry, swearing, right? Um, but yeah, pretty simple design. I think you need at least a 2 block high thing for bloodroots to spawn. That's what I got from my testing, but I've had people tell me I'm wrong before, so who knows? If you want orange bloodroot, try this because it works really well. Again, another kind of massive farm. This time for sky blue flower, but gets you these nature's gifts, life roots, jungle roses, uh, which I think we have over 100 of them now, and some like teal mushrooms, and those spawn everywhere. It seems. Um, but yeah, the annoying thing about these farms is whenever you want to do a big project like mine out a big area, um, oh, that was a big lag spike. Always is kind of the first one. You can see it's um, just yeah, all coming in now. Um, sucked in by the chests. So many of these jungle spores. Um, lots of the area in these farms gets replaced with like adamantite. I think I missed some here. So these constantly need maintenance to make sure they still work. Especially after I built this, which is a Plantera farm. We'll get to in a bit. But yeah, a simple design, very similar to the um, Bloodroot one. Um, it just now has a lot of these dart traps here to get rid of the thorns, which are fired periodically as the farm does its thing. But yeah, it is a huge farm, and yeah, it took a while to build, as all these do, but it's they don't have any hoiks in them. It's all pretty simple. Um, if you're gonna build lots of jungle grass things, make it out of mushroom grass first, and then contaminate it so you don't get any chlorophyte growth. I don't know. It was fun. It got me all the sky blue flowers I needed, and more. Um, let's turn this off and keep that running, I guess. Does that do what I think it does? Probably. Um, yeah, we don't actually need all of these items. Another thing on this world is the coral farm, which I'm quite proud of. I designed this a few years ago. The wiring is, not complicated, but it's just it's quite complicated for like a modular design. Lots of places you can go wrong, um, because for coral you can see they exist on actuated blocks, so that's not going to do anything. But what you need to do is double actuate the floor. The previous design actually broke, so I built this before 1.4.5, and I was very happy with it, and everything was good. But 1.4.5 came, and I turned this on just to check because I was like, "Oh, there's nothing could have broken here." And then all of the sand started disappearing, and I'm like, "What is going on?" Um, Turns out falling sand for no reason at all um, breaks on conveyor belts. Yeah, you can see the sand kind of disappearing out of existence every 2 seconds, I think. And basically, you actuate the floor, so it's all of the coral is on, all the sand is on, um, and then you loop around, and the coral is harvested, um, and that sort of thing. You need to keep the sand off on leaving the world, because you don't want to have to constantly refill this thing with water. Because if I left the world now, um, all of the water in the sand would disappear, and over time you'd get less and less water. Um, so it's just good to maintain it like that. Wait for everything to get together, and then I'll tell you when it's safe to switch off the farm, like that. Voila. The main reason we kind of have all of these like growth-based farms on this world is the higher update rate on the Don't Dig Up world. So people can like have their herb gardens at their base, which is in hell. They massively increases the update rate, um, which means anything based on growth in the underground layer. This is the sort of world you want to put it in. So Plantera, lime kelp, bloodroot, um, sky blue flowers. Coral could have been built on any world because it's in the surface, but you know, I wanted all the big growth farms in one world. I think it looks quite cool, quite impressive. Um, but yeah, a lot of work been put into this world, other than the spawn area, which looks terrible. The last thing I kind of wanted to show off was the Plantera farm. I don't know. I made a video about it like a few weeks ago or something, and it's incredibly quick. I was worried that Plantera would be the worst farm in the game for bosses. I was worried I wasn't going to come up with anything good, um, like a 4 or 5 Plantera per hour sort of thing, and it would take me years and years to complete it. But 90 per hour, it's incredibly cool. Um, Basically, what you do is you flick that switch, you get all of your stuff on. I like to put it in here, and yeah, like that. You sit in with the inner tube. I flick the lever, so it should be fine. And basically, you sit in this thing for the next 40 seconds. Once those 40 seconds are kind of up, this time will go off, and you'll go into the kind of waiting area. And you can get into whatever armor set you want. Doesn't have to have the inner tube, and then you can kind of launch. And I use an auto clicker to constantly be pressing this. You need to make sure you don't have that on. You can take off the glove hand of creation because that actually decreases the rates. It makes it harder to pick up items because you're moving so quickly. You also need to definitely have this. Otherwise, you're not gonna survive for very long. All the beehives breaking. Um, but I just think this is a really fun farm. It takes about 75 times 10 divided by 60. Um, that is 12 minutes ish to get around the entire farm. Um, and it's pretty safe. It's pretty safe. Um, yeah. And yeah, getting in and out of the farm, you kind of wait till there's no Plantera coming around. Um, kill that guy. Um, then I like to teleport out, turn off this 5-second timer, and yeah, you're done. In that short space of time, I got 4 Plantera kills. I don't know, this took me a while to build, and a lot of this I'm realizing is redundant. I had exams and I was bored and wanted to design something cool or focus on anything other than relativistic electrodynamics, which Jesus Christ is it. I don't believe in it. It's stupid and doesn't exist. Um, Basically, this whole little section here is redundant or whatever. I think it's cool. But yeah, that's kind of it for this world. On to the next one. But yeah, onto the kind of third world that we have. We have a kind of more complicated mob switch setup in this world because we needed the spiky ball trap version of it, um, which I really like. Um, but this is a dungeon drunk world, essentially. Um, a world where I haven't killed um, Skeletron, and that allows me to get certain glitches that help out a whole bunch, um, like massively increased spawn rate for enemies, and I'll show you now. For example, if we turn off the mob switch, I really need to label these teleporters and switches. It is a mess. We can see this sort of farm, which is a gnome farm that works, incredibly quickly. Um, this double actuating floor setup is kind of foggy, but yeah, basically we have a spawn zone here with a dart trap battery. We have the dungeon brick, and then the unsafe living wood walls. This was before you could get those in in your inventory. So we had to rely on a drunk world um, to be able to set up all these different kinds of farms. The gnome farm is good because I don't know, it just is. It's cool. It's cool. Look at it. Look at it go. I mean, you're gonna see loads of rare enemies just getting destroyed because they spawn in so quickly. It's just very quick. I think it's very cool. And we have more gnomes than we could ever want. Um, like on that note, we have all sorts of farms that are very similar. This one is almost basically the same. Um, and yeah, you just sit here collecting goldfish. And this is probably the fastest way to get golden critters. It's how I now feed myself ever since bacon was patched. I just use golden delights, and all of these fish we don't need even for the collection goals. And yeah, it's basically this very simple farm. Anything that's not trapped in the hoik despawns pretty quickly, and it's only goldfish. Um, I don't know. I think it's fantastic. Oh, that was a shame. But you get so many of these, and every once in a while, I'll just leave this on for an hour um, to get me some goldfish. And I have a even got a pot to cook them in. Yeah, I mean, like the same sort of design. We have um, worm, snail, and mice farm. Um, this allowed us to get all of the things we need, all of the golden mice very quickly. I really thought this was going to be patched rather than the unsafe desert wall thing, but it wasn't in 1.4.5. It actually got even more powerful, which seems a bit, you know, stupid. Um, I'll show you. Well, this is how it got more powerful. So any type of enemy that doesn't have a designated spawn block to spawn on, so they just spawn on like generic floors, or their spawns are dictated by the biome, which is a lot of enemies can be spawned in and killed this way. This is for meteor heads. I've got the landmine trick because I don't know. I think it's cool, and there's no real cool way to mass farm these quickly. But you get the Dungeon Guardian spawn rates if you are close to where the initial dungeon spawn point is in a drunk world. Um, this can be, you know, super powerful because this applies to any drunk world with any sort of secret combination. So, for example, mole people is a world where you can mole people plus skyblock plus drunk world. You're able to set your spawn point for your dungeon manually and place it right at the cavern layer, which means you can even have this in a cavern layer farm, um, which I think is, you know, incredibly overpowered. And Skyblock has, you know, even faster rates than this. And I do use that. I'll show you in a bit in one of my Skyblock worlds. But I think this is just ridiculous. Um, but I kind of love it. Yeah, well, if you're kind of sick of enemies, so am I. Sick of having this thing out. These are tree shaking farms. And we got one for each type of um, biome, but they don't work anymore. The amount of setup that went into these was, you know, crazy, kind of ridiculous. And they just broke in 1.4.5. So we had to redesign the whole thing. The reason why they broke is um, basically these dummy engines would rapidly teleport you across here. You'd aim a shroomite digging claw, which each farm has a light shroomite digging claw, and you would be only mining the tree for one tick, which would shake it as fast as humanly possible. Then you'd cycle through the farm a few times, collecting all the drops, whatever. But now dummies have spawn radius things, so they despawn. So you get about 10 or 15 into this, and it just breaks. See if I'll show you. So you have 3 seconds to get ready, and then it breaks. You're stuck here, and there's not much you can do about it, which is fun. Yeah. So instead, we redesigned the whole thing. It's actually so much simpler. It's just a big hoik track. I also put in, you know, a fair amount of gnomes. And this helped us get all of the fruit that we needed. Because trees can only be placed something like, what is that, 3 tiles apart. Um, you need to have, and you can't really be hoiked that far. You have to use a specific mount, um, which is this, with the same Shroomite Digging Claw. Um, and you get into your thing. There is a specific place where you've got to aim at. Voila, this blue dot. And then you can go into there, and you're basically go through this farm 3 times. Um, and I think it's around 500 long. You don't need to keep shaking them. But you get in all of these different kinds of fruits, and it's pretty quick. And when you're done, you can leave the world um, and rejoin it. Your spawn point set, um, and also I hope this is still working. Yeah, the showcase effect isn't working, but the mob switch is still on, so you don't have to deal with any more mobs. And because you've left the world, you can just go at it again, collect even more drops. And yeah, we have this kind of setup for um, all uh, all types of wood types. Some of them are slightly different, and you need to go through 3 times to collect all of the items. Because the first time you're just shaking the trees, second time you're attracting them in a little bit, and the third time you finally collect, well, most of them. Um, you still drop a few things along the way, but I think it's efficient enough. No one else had a what's it called, a tree shaking farm. I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, it's useless for literally anyone else, but I've got to get the acorns and the eucalyptus sap, 100 of each of those. So I still need to use these farms, but I did go overkill on them. For what's it called? For other tree types, generally the corrupts, the crimson and the hallow tree types, we can use palm trees, which made the whole build much simpler. You no longer need a mount. You can just sit here, and yeah, like that. I don't think we're going to get any drops actually, because we didn't leave the world. But yeah, pretty cool. You go through 3 times again, with a bit of logic at the end. Oh, we got a few drops. I think there was some left over that we didn't hit on the last one. But yeah, we have that for all the tree types here, and then we have finally one in the ocean, which is more of a squashed up one. You go from you travel through this whole thing 3 times, because the ocean is quite narrow, so you need to stack it, and that's the only way you can get the coconut and banana drops that are quite important. But yeah, that's how we got all the fruit. These massive farms that are heavy on the gnome usage, but you have to use something. You have to use the gnomes for something. So right now we're on a different character. I have a few of these different alternate characters. It just means I don't have to constantly be changing my setup. Um, it just makes things easier. I don't remember what I used this setup for. Oh, yeah, that was for Torch God's Favor. And we're looking, I need to sort these out. This is the coin farm, basically Mappy's coin farm. It needed a bit of updating since 1.4.5 changed some of the Hoik stuff. And we use this farm as well because of, what's it called? dungeon guardian spawn rates, basically. Yeah, and they spawn in super fast, much faster than the kind of like original design. Um, but yeah, Mappy is a kind of genius. That's awesome design, and it helps us get all of the millions upon millions of coins that we want. And I think that's full. The farm is full. Oh, I didn't turn it off. That's brilliant. Okay, there we go. Well, that's a lot of them. You can get more, but God, I haven't used this in a while. Yeah, you just flick the 5 second timer, and you have coins all over the place. Um, and I think it's just a really cool design. And you get rid of the initial non-black recluse enemies. But yeah, Mappy's a genius for this one. Next, we have the sand farm, and I can always remember where the sand farm is because it has the big lever. I spent a long time designing this thing, and it is, yeah, awful. Um, but it gets us a hell of a lot of sand. Because when 1.4.5 came out, I was distraught. That shouldn't be there. The ale thing was gone, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? We have no more sand. I like building with glass. It's fun. But yeah, that was short lived. That stressful time. We made this. So yeah, this is kind of how the farm works. Which one is okay? And then I'm gonna have the engine on. Turn that one off actually. And then you can stand here, and you'll notice that lots of things are spawning in and out of existence. But the antlions don't get spawned away. We also need to place a load of gold here. We'll just place 100 for now, and then we'll kind of showcase what the farm can do. I did make a video on this farm a while ago, but not everyone might have watched it. So I still didn't ever fix the needing to manually do this, but it's fine. Basically, the antlions are separated out from other enemies, which is good for a sand farm. These are the only guys that can produce sand. And God, I hate this new mechanic. Looking to settle nearby. I don't care. I didn't build a house for you because I didn't want you. Sorry, that's rude to the wizard. But yeah, they're basically being spawned and taken over here to this area, and the rest of them are being teleported to wherever I placed the teleporters. Oh yeah, and they're instantly despawning. And we can see kind of what that looks like over there. We'll just get these three, hopefully. And yeah, basically, yeah, they sit there, and there's 19 of them, and usually this is kind of rubbish. That's 19 at a time, so they fire every 2.33 seconds. Maths, it's pretty slow, basically. But now with this farm design, we can increase the rates hugely by rapidly teleporting back and forth. We actually need a better armor set for this farm to be viable, because it is kind of ridiculous. And yeah, for every single one of these antlions, you're getting 54,000 per hour, roughly. I think once you get to the higher limits of like 190 whatever antlions in the farm, you're having kind of a rougher time because of projectile cap being reached. Lots of sand is deleted. Um, yeah, basically because antlions refresh their cooldown for their spit attack animation when they're respawned in with the coin saving. You can get massive amounts of sand per hour. 8.5 million if you wait long enough and get enough of these antlions to spawn in there. But I think it's a really cool farm, and my sand problems will never be a problem again. Faster than the tavern keep. Goddamn. But yeah, there's a lot of sand farm misinformation running around online, which is we don't like that. The best sand farm is really good. Antlions are the best, way better than sand gun. Spread the word. Yeah, super important stuff, guys. Not like the world is burning, but the rest of the farm world is kind of uninteresting. This is a bone key farm with Mappy's railgun. You just look at his video. It works very well. I have over 2,000 keys. Well done, Mappy. Actual legend stuff. And then a what's it called? Simple underground desert farm for getting vanity sets, like the Lamia masks and these sorts of things. Yeah, I don't know, not much to say about it, except the new design with hoppers. Um, all items can fit through a 1 block gap now, which is cool. Win is a win. This is kind of the final, well, one of the final worlds. This is a get fixed boy world, and there isn't actually a lot in it. We have three things basically. We have a Prismatic Lacewing farm, which, yes, if you followed me for the Prismatic Lacewing farm, I do know that you can't do this anymore, and it's slightly broken. I might release a video on it. I don't know. It's a pretty simple fix to change it, and to make a whole nother video on it is, a lot of work. But this gets us Prismatic Lacewings, which we should have enough to get all the items we need. And then the actual cool farm, which is a Cobweb farm. We turn off the mob switch. It's getting more and more manual as the as the days go on. Oh, right, we need to do that because dummies now despawn, which is very cool. But yeah, cobwebs can spawn like this in all sorts of worlds, and yeah, it's fantastic. They need to be more evenly spread out. But yeah, we're gonna need this, ever since we need to like stack all the vanity items, we're gonna need probably more cobwebs than this. I feel like this design has somehow slowed down since 1.4.5, but it was around 600,000 cobwebs per hour, and it's still, better than any sort of naturally spawning cobweb farm that you could ever make. How have I not saved the web stylist? It is what it is. I'm sure she'll be fine. But yeah, this works really well. I think it's very cool. Yeah, the last thing on this world, kind of not interesting. Um, this it's a boss killing place. You sit in an invincibility machine, um, and it yeah makes you invincible, obviously. Um, and you kill it with summons, and then wherever the boss drops go, they're just picked up here. Usually there's a mob switch for that. I actually need to probably remake this because again, item sizes have changed. These hoiks might not really work anymore. Um, but that is what it is. I use this mainly for Mechdusa, which I might come back to because we got to get all the pets. Remember, we all got to get all the pets. Losing my mind here. Not really, but I don't know. We need to make one for Duke Fishron, which doesn't have standard full damage invulnerability. We need to make it using statue enemy damage invincibility, um, but actually make those sorts of machines reliable. Which I think you can do. It just requires some complicated timings, which we love. We love to overcomplicate things. I think that's everything on the world. Probably. Let's hope. Yeah, speaking of things that are useless, um, this world, this is a don't starve world, um, which I think is, yeah, not very helpful. But the only thing that was useful for it was actually, um, I have a different my lighting is weird and doesn't allow this to work. Is for Abigail's flower farm, um, which yeah, I think it's kind of fun. Let's turn it on. Um, don't mind the kind of Soviet propaganda. Well, do mind it. Be a communist is the only way to go. Um, dialectical materialism. Let's win. That's the other thing that I do in my free time, which is 100% more important. Um, but yeah, basically um, this is where all of the tombstones went for the farm, and this took actually forever because I mowed all the grass to make sure that only Abigail's flowers could spawn, and it was clunky and annoying to build. Um, it actually broke in 1.4.5. The upweek stopped working, so I just made this, which was yeah simpler. Um, but yeah, I honestly don't know why I felt the need to make this. It's not like we're trying to stack these types of items, but we did, and we put in more design effort into it than any farm I've ever built since. I mean, it just looks terrible though. Look at that star. Um, Not great. Actually, no, I'm gonna give myself that. That's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, fun. And these are all kind of like echo coded, so you can see the emblem or whatever. But that is literally the only thing in this world. I only built it because these have a higher spawn rate in this type of world. Um, which, yeah. This is the MK10 world. Again, getting more manual with the mob switch. But I gotta have one of these in every world, otherwise I'll lose my mind. There's few things we use this world for. Um, Mainly the tree farm, the tree farming area. So we've got every type of tree, um, or every type of wood. Uh, and I really gotta label these switches. There we go. The reason why we use a celebration MK10 world is palm trees drop a lot more wood compared to other types of trees. like 3 or 4 times as much per tile. And because they're tall already, you get just a huge amount of wood. And you can do this with, palm woods, shade wood, crimson wood, pearl woods, um, and then you have to have regular farms for the other types. Um, and we don't have a regular wood farm because that's so readily available for from other sources like furnaces, whatever. Um, but yeah, these took kind of a while to build. Actually, it kind of surprised me. They are really massive, and I don't think I've ever once done a whole harvest of this entire farm. I went like way overkill um, because we just had enough wood by like a quarter of the way through these for everything we could possibly need. Um, but yeah, we made them. They exist. They're cool. The next kind of step for this world will be a bamboo farm, which I think I started working on. I cut out this whole thing. I need to destroy this whole landmass to make the bamboo farm. I didn't really have a design in mind when I started, but it was what it was. But yeah. And then we also have, what's it called? A butterfly farm. Um, this needs to be rebuilt because of the spawn rate changes again. But we built this on celebration for the increased butterfly days. So whenever you have a butterfly day, butterfly spawn rates are basically doubled. And this was a really good farm for a time, and then it broke. But yeah, we spent a lot of time with this, just running through. Had the luck machine, really optimized this farm setup, made it much better, much cleaner. I'll actually show you how it would work. I think that's it. So you'd sit here for the 10 seconds waiting for things to spawn in. Everything else would be teleported away, and then you're fired across here, and then because oh, that's the wrong thing. That's a glitch in the game, by the way. The heroicist stat spawning in any liquid in a desert biome. But yeah, that secondary kind of sweep across the spawn zone allowed you to really collect everything without losing things. And then you'd also have ooh, that's a person. Ways to peek at the spawn zone to get a gist of how butterfly day it was. And then you could leave the world, rejoin, and reset until you had a really decent butterfly day where you could get a couple of gold butterflies. It was slow going. And I'm taking a break because this is slow now. So another kind of single-use world. Really single use. It is very non-sustainable. This kind of meteor mining project. Basically, we take a small meteor, small world, destroy the entire surface, make sure nothing is above that point, and this allows you to spawn in as many meteorites as you want. And as you can see like the outline of these big meteor holes that spawn in. And we can spawn in a bunch of meteors rapidly by killing a bunch of Eater of Worlds. But yeah, basically, when you have only one NPC slot left open, so we've got 199 bunnies, we can kill Eater of Worlds immediately. And this is not really that useful at the moment because the time is not midnight yet. So each one of these Eater of Worlds, you kill them. Either way, there'll be a 50% chance of spawning a meteor at midnight. If not, yeah, it's not. But once you pass midnight, and you can see the meteor falling there, so we got it. Once you pass midnight, though, that restriction ends. So there's a 50% chance every time you kill a meteor, an Eater of Worlds, to get a meteor. So if we shove on our auto clicker, we can see just a metric ton of meteors spawning in, and loads of these boss things dying immediately. And this is a really effective way to farm meteorite. It's a little quarry. That's why I called the world Meteor Quarry. Yeah, I don't know, kind of fun. But yeah, this machine can actually break, if you believe it or not. If the meteor hits a demon altar, wraiths can spawn, and they override the spawn of one of the bunnies, and then they despawn, or they die or something, and they despawn because they float down. And then you no longer only have one slot. Eater of Worlds becomes a thing. The nightmare. But you can do this up until 4:30 in the morning. It's quite an expensive thing to do. But we have a really good rotten chunk farm. Vile powder's not a thing. It's just the bloody tier that is the expensive thing, I think. Yeah, very cool. But then we've got the really new farm worlds on Skyblock. Yeah, this doesn't have the full view map, which I guess you don't really need at all. It's a Skyblock world. Yeah, we placed that so no demonized spawn in. But this is the ore farm. Need to turn off the mob switch. Oops. Okay. And yeah, basically, because of the Dungeon Guardian glitch, in the dungeon worlds, we get an absolutely huge number of ore slimes. This is just like in a hard mode world, and other useful materials. So I usually keep this like that, and loads of other materials, such as like mining sets and that sort of thing. This isn't like technically possible to do in vanilla on this type of world, but I just hate mole people so much that I made this anyway. You can make this on a mole people world, setting the dungeon spawn point at the cavern layer, which is the surface in a mole people world. But you can't set the dungeon this low. So this is a drunk skyblock world, with the dungeon guardian spawn rates. You just get an absolutely ridiculous amount of drops, and then you just go to the spawn zone. You have to have a dart trap killing all the worms and the mice. And yeah, this is how we're planning on getting all of the ores we need for, you know, armor sets and that sort of thing. This guy saying anything? No. But yeah, we've nearly filled up like a huge amount of these chests. We'll need to AFK this at some point properly, to get as many of these ore blocks as we can, but yeah, it's hugely efficient, and that is all we have in this world. Um, yeah, we're gonna probably build some other things that are exclusive to Skyblock. Um, but I really do enjoy like clearing out areas. I don't really love the new slime mechanics. Um, I wish there was a better way of getting ores this quickly, but there isn't really. Which is a shame because I think it's, yeah, this is just the bog standard farm. It's kind of nothing. Um, but yeah. We also have another Skyblock world with some other things in it. Um, why is there slime rain? Seems weird. Um, yeah, we have a few things. Um, again, this is only really possible on mole people, but this is a. That needs to turn off. This is a similar sort of setup, um, just for like pre-hard mode version. This is on classic mode. Um, I think it's, yeah, it's all right. It helps us get all the, drops are lowered in hard mode. Um, slime rain, that's brilliant. Um, for certain enemies, like undead miners, Tims, uh, all sorts of things. So this just allowed us to get all the stuff we needed. Lots of these neck things, just random stuff, extractinators. They really just give you everything in Skyblock. And I don't want this to just turn into a kind of we're doing a Skyblock playthrough sort of thing. Because it really is less interesting. But yeah, kind of cool, I guess. We have some other farms. This is, well, what is supposed to be a seahorse farm. It doesn't really work that well. It needs a redesign. It's terrible. But why are we making a seahorse farm in here? Firstly, because Skyblock doubles the spawn rates for some reason. It would be nice to have some way of doing that in a normal world, but whatever. But also in this new update, you can just have a town in a dungeon. Um, and this world is on a classic difficulty. Um, and a town overrides, all spawns in that area. So being able to have one in a dungeon, especially pre Skeletron, you can get the ultra high spawn rates of dungeon guardians for any critter um, that can spawn on dungeon brick, which seahorses can. I discovered, which is another win. This is a bit of a terrible farm because it needs protections from um, blood moons and possibly invasions. But yeah, one that was more successful was the um, Gem Critter Farm, and I'll show you how that works. But yeah, as you can see, this is a ridiculous spawn rate for anything. Um, you get the Dungeon Guardian rates, and I think they're doubled. Probably not. They're just the Dungeon Guardian rates for gem bunnies and that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, you could do a similar sort of thing with all sorts of critters in classic worlds. In expert mode worlds, you kind of can do something like that, but there's like a 1 in 30 chance of an enemy spawning, and that enemy will be the Dungeon Guardian, which will kill you. So you can engineer around that, but it's easier and more efficient if you just go on a classic world. Um, Obviously, you can't really leave this farm be for very long, because once a blood moon happens, you just die, um, and that's no fun. So a way to improve this farm would be to teleport you out of it at the start of nighttime. Um, See if there's a blood moon. If there is, skip it with a sundial. If there's not, go back into the farm, um, or just skip all the nights. At least attempt to. And yeah, that is a ridiculously fast um, gem critter farm. But yeah, that kind of wraps up everything that I kind of have done. I've been working on this past year. I'm sure I've missed something, or glossed over stuff that are probably more important. Um, like, what does this switch do? You'll have to find out. No, that was a big failure. Um, but yeah, I think it's a pretty fun way to play the game. I would recommend getting into your own forever world. Just have those goals that you want to do. You got to think outside the box. But yeah, this is long enough as it is. See you in the next one. Ciao.